G'day all, it's Colin from PCTLC and thanks for joining me. Today I wanted to discuss some things regarding a couple of YouTubers and some of the things they've said in regards to moving people or migrating people or how to get people to Linux. And it got me to thinking, and this video here was done by Swapnil Bhartiya. I hope I got that right. I hope I didn't mess that name up. Sorry if I did. He had a video a little while back on September last year. Stop converting users to Linux and start migrating them. And then I was watching, I think it's Derek from Distrotube, and he had a similar video about how do I run Windows programs on Linux. Now, the migration thing is a great idea. I remember watching this video, and if you look at a couple of things, for starters, this program here that you can get on Windows is called Night, and it can install programs into your Windows operating system, and it can also update those particular apps that are installed. And if you have a look at a lot of these apps, you'll see something very familiar. And what's familiar with a lot of these apps is a lot of them are available in Linux. Now, also there's a program called Chocolatey. Now this program has a lot more to offer than what Night does. And you can also update applications that you've installed with Chocolatey as well. It's just a little, it's a package manager for Windows. And again, I've been through all the packages in here and I've picked out some packages that are very familiar. Now we all know we can run, I think now, Netflix on Firefox and Google Chrome now, I believe. So please correct me if I'm wrong on that, because I don't really watch Netflix. I probably should watch a bit more of it, but I'm busy messing with Linux, which is my favorite pastime. So this Chocolatey one here is you install that in your, running your command as administrator. And there's a how to install here. And then it's just a matter of finding a package. And if we look at through here, and if you wanted to install Google Chrome, you just copy and paste this program and it would install Google Chrome. Now the advantage of doing it this way, if you're in Windows, is when you, first of all, you go to one website, nowhere else, just this website, and you can install a lot of things into this website here. From this website, which means you do not have to go around and pick up or take the chance of picking up viruses of all these different websites to download all these different .exes, and you come across all these ridiculous loopy buttons that take you around in circles and back to the same place looking for the .exe file and so forth. This is a good idea just to install everything with this program here. And I believe now that they've got a graphical user interface for this now, which would be very good as well. And the other cool thing that this doesn't do is it doesn't install those ridiculous browser toolbars within your browser. And we all know how really annoying that is. So having gone through all this, what I've done is I've had a look at the packages available in Chocolatey, which is also, if we have a look down here, Audacious is a free open source audio player available Linux and Microsoft Windows. There's your download for Audacious in Windows and Linux, and your various Linux flavors. Audacity is a free open source digital audio editor and recorder. This too is available on Windows, Mac OS, and also Linux. Doesn't say that. Doesn't say Linux there, but we all know it's available in Linux anyway. And if you have a look there, download Audacity. And if you have a look at these here, you've got the Linux option. So Windows, Mac and Linux. BleachBit. Microsoft Windows, Mac OS and Linux. There's the website, download. And the download there is Linux, Mac OS and Windows. Cherry Tree, good note taker in Linux, available in most distros that I'm aware of. Website, download for Windows. RPM, and the tar and a .deb file as well. Whereas you'll find that Cherry Tree is available in most repos anyway. Clementine, free and open source audio player. Once again, Windows, Mac OS, available for Unix-like. And there's the downloads. Windows, Ubuntu, all your various flavors, but we do know that that's in probably most repos as well. EasyTag is a graphical tag editor for Linux and Microsoft Windows. That's available in most repos in Linux as well. That's how EasyTag works. You update the title of the song, the artist, and then you save it. And you just pick the folders that you want. And then when you put them on your Samsung phone or whatever, you've got the artist name and everything correctly comes up. I've used that. It's a very good little program. Etcher. Download Etcher for Linux, Windows, Mac OS. Firefox. Well, we all know it's all available. Windows, Mac, Linux. Comes by default with a lot of Linux distros anyway. GIMP. Operating system Linux, Mac OS and Windows, BSD and Solaris is a free and open source graphics editor. We all know if you're in Linux world, we're all very familiar with GIMP. There's your download page, downloads for GNU Linux, OS X, Microsoft Windows, Google Chrome, Windows, Mac OS, and Debian, Ubuntu, Fedora, OpenSUSE, Android and iOS. Handbrake. It's available in a lot of repos now. You can get it in a PPA, but it's available for Linux, Mac OS and Windows. And there's your download page, Mac OS, Windows, Ubuntu and all sorts. Inkscape, free and open source vector graphics editor. And you can download for GNU Linux, Windows, Mac OS. Kdenlive Live, I did a search on that and found that it was available for Linux, Windows, OS X, source code only. And I believe it's in beta, but it's still available. And there's your download page. Mac OS down the bottom and Windows. The beta Windows version can be downloaded from the KDE servers. Kodi is a free and open source media player software. We all know Kodi if you watch a lot of movies. Available for Android, Windows, Linux, iOS, Mac OS. There's your downloads for Kodi. LibreOffice is a free and open source office suite. LibreOffice works well. You can save documents from LibreOffice to Microsoft Office formats. Most of them work, I'm sure. If it's overly complicated, you might have issues, but for the average user, shouldn't be an issue. And There it is, Linux, Mac OS, Windows, MPV, Media Player, available for Microsoft Windows, Linux, Macintosh operating systems. There's your downloads page, Linux packages, OS 10, Windows, Arch, Debian, Ubuntu, and so forth. Nomax is an image viewer which is also available in some Linux distros. I don't know if it's in a lot of the repos, but it's available for download. Windows, Ubuntu and Linux Mint via PPA, Debian, Fedora, Arch Linux, OpenSUSE, Mac, FreeBSD. OpenShot video editor, available for Linux, Mac OS and Windows. Download page. Pigeon, free open source multi-platform instant messaging client. Never used this myself before, but it is very popular in some distros. It seems to be always there. Available for Linux, Mac OS and Windows. Pigeon download page. Pinter is an open source cross-platform bitmap image drawing and editing program inspired by Paint.net. Operating system Linux, Mac OS and Windows. Pinter download page. Skype. We all know Skype is available for Linux. Download page. rpm.deb. Windows, Mac. Not too many people use Skype these days, I don't think. Spotify. A snap install for Ubuntu. Well, snap install now is available for probably just about most distros now. Steam. Well, Steam's available. And if you watch English Bob, he does a lot of videos running Steam, and most of them are Linux-based platforms, but I'm very sure that he runs also Windows through Wine with Steam, Windows games, and he does it quite successfully on a lot of occasions. TeamViewer. It is a proprietary computer software package. It's a remote desktop, available for Windows, Android, Linux, Chrome OS, BlackBerry OS, Windows, Mac and Linux, Chrome, Windows app, iOS. Very popular across the board. Telegram. Windows, Mac OS, Linux. Telegram download page for Android, iPhone. Mozilla Thunderbird, open source platform run by Mozilla for, instead of using the standard email client from Microsoft, you can run this Mozilla Thunderbird. It is just as good. Windows XP, OS 10, Linux. I'm struggling to think of the name of the, geez, I should know, I use it every day. The email client from Microsoft. It's one of those old people moments, I think. And there's your Thunderbird page, download page. Transmission. It is a BitTorrent client. Linux, Mac OS, Windows, Unix-like. Transmission download page. VirtualBox. Windows, Mac OS, Linux and Solaris. Most people are probably familiar with VirtualBox, but maybe a lot of people don't use it because they're just not sure on how to use it. VLC Media Player, operating system, Microsoft Windows, Android, Mac OS, Linux and more. VLC download page. WPS Office. Now this one is a closed sourced office. It's developed by Kingsoft. It is available for Linux, Windows, and iOS. Once again, that is compatible with Microsoft Office, but not compatible with LibreOffice. Download page for WPS. YouTube DL. Very, very good downloader for YouTube. And if I want to watch or listen to my favorite podcast, Destination Linux, for example, I can download the video, I can download the audio. It's a very good little command line downloader. And once you've got your commands set up for this, it's just two main commands for downloading video or audio. Just copy and paste and put the link after it and done deal. And that's available for Windows and Linux. And I've had people in Windows using it, and I think it's also, I'm pretty sure it's available for Mac as well. Don't quote me on that, I can't see that there at the moment. Zoom. We use Zoom to do Big Daddy Live Linux, Big Daddy Linux Live on a Saturday night, American time. And now that is available, you can install it and run it. It's not your standard install on Linux. It's a little bit of messing around, but it's just a matter of double clicking the run file and it works. And there's the download page. And it's available, supported Windows, Mac OS, and various Linux distributions as well. So we're back to Audacious again. So the whole point of this video is to show that people running Windows could be running all this free and open source, which is available. And these are all available in Chocolatey, that you can download and install and run on Windows. And once you get comfortable with all those free and open source programs, you would have no problem moving to Linux, because Linux has a home, documents, downloads, music, pictures, videos, just the same as Windows does. So there's no complications there. So once people start using these open source programs in Windows, and then they've had enough of Windows and the way it works, they can start moving to Linux, and they'll be familiar with a lot of the programs that are available at your fingertips within Linux, and a lot less messing around as what it is in Windows to get them installed. Granted, some are a little bit more trickier than others, but the whole point is we can move these people over slowly. And I think that was the migration thing that some of these other YouTubers were talking about. And that in itself is the best way to get people to move over to Linux, is to become familiar with the apps that are used in Linux, and use them on Windows. So in regards to some of the applications on Chocolatey, I can tell you for sure that some of these applications in Windows, in the Chocolatey program here, some of them are paid versions, so they'll be trialed. Some of them can be installed and they'll be trial version. Some of them are completely free. So, some of the ones that are completely free are Thunderbird, Handbrake, PDF Exchange Editor, Firefox, VLC, LibreOffice, 7-Zip, Rufus, EM Client, CD Burner XP, Power ISO. Oh, sorry, not Power ISO. That's not a PDF Exchange Editor. So there's a lot of programs for Windows that you can get without trolling the internet and getting any ugly viruses and so forth. So consider this nice little program here. And if any viewers here want to see how it works, then I can load up a Windows 10 in a VirtualBox. That'll run. It doesn't need any key to run. It runs with limited access on some things. And then I can load this Chocolatey up and show you how to install things. So if anyone wants to know, feel free to ask and I shall make a video on that. So I hope that some people can see the advantages of slowly moving or switching or migrating people over to Linux. This is a very good start. So I hope some of you found this video informative, and thank you for watching.